Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of UA Eats. I'm UA and I am right here in Times Square. Well, more like the outskirts of Times Square. If you walk further into that direction, you get more into the thick of Times Square, but I'm kind of on the edge of Times Square here where they have the Back to the Future musical. And yeah, actually, if you go further that way, if you go further down that way and make a left, you get to Gallagher's Steakhouse. One of, if not my favorite steakhouse in all of New York. And if you go down these steps, you get the newly opened Din Tai Fung, which I reviewed not long ago. Although I think this might be an employee entrance perhaps. So yeah, the food game in Times Square, it's getting not bad. I think there's actually a Los Tacos #1 too in Times Square. When I'm craving steak on this channel, it's been a while since we've had a nice, delicious, dry-aged, juicy steak. I was tempted to head down to Gallagher's. We'll do that sometime on this channel. We've eaten there once, but I've been meaning to go back again sometime. It's fantastic. But just down the street in this direction is the famous and legendary Palm restaurant. Now, Palm was once a legendary establishment in New York. It was established like 100 years ago, maybe more actually, but it was known for great steak. I think some of their sides and desserts are good too, and also a bunch of caricatures of celebrities that used to eat there. But now, unfortunately, the Palm has closed down the original location, and the spin-off location, Palm 2, which was considered the one that carried the torch, also recently closed. So that's unfortunate. But the Palm has actually opened a ton of additional locations around the whole world. I think I saw one in Vegas, I think in Caesar's Palace. And in New York, they opened a few additional locations as well. Although I don't think they're under the original management of Palm and Palm 2. So they're still part of the Palm franchise, but they're not the original Palm restaurants. But they're still pretty well reviewed, so let's check out the Palm and see if it's all it's cracked up to be. Some people still swear by the steaks there, so let's check it out. All right guys, so we're inside the famous Palm restaurant. And you know, these aren't the original two restaurants, Palm and Palm 2, but this one has been around for I think at least 20 years. It's really off-peak, so it's just me in the restaurant. It's pretty much just me, although I think some people are in the bar area, but it's a really, really cool vibe here. I mean, they're really trying to capture the original Palm feel, I think, with the caricatures all over the whole restaurant. And yeah, maybe later I'll stand up and I'll try to spot some people. To be honest, I've never really been good at keeping up with celebrities and recognizing knowing all the famous people, but there's a few people I recognize here. You know, there's Jay-Z, there's Spike Lee. I think outside that might have been Bradley Cooper, I believe. Some of these people I recognize, some of them not so much, but hey, you know, I've never been super knowledgeable about celebrities. But besides the caricatures, the restaurant just has a cool vibe in general. I like the dark wood furniture, the booths are a nice touch, perfect amount of lighting, and you know, they got some classic old school music in the background, like Frank Sinatra, stuff like that. And that's pretty common for these old school restaurants. Let's take a look at the menu though. So we are here for lunch, so I don't think this is their full dinner menu. Not too much stuff. Yep, that's pretty much it. You know, like kind of some seafood, some shrimp cocktails and things like that. Some of your typical New York steakhouse classics. Salads, steak salads, ahi tuna salad, you know, miscellaneous items such as that. And then they have their steak section down here. So they got filet mignons, 6 and 8 ounces. And then they got their New York strip, $64 for a 14 ounce. And then some other sides at the bottom. But what's interesting is that I'm lucky in that I'm catching this place during restaurant week. $45 per person. And here, you know, you get a salad and you get some other options as well, I suppose. So I guess we'll do a Palm Caesar salad and we'll do a chicken Parmesan, which I hear is excellent here. And then let's get a New York strip, why don't we? So, you know, we'll try the steak and we'll try the chicken Parmesan. After all, Palm has roots in being Italian cuisine, and then we'll go from there. I think I'm ready.
Sure.
All right, so I'm gonna try this restaurant week, sure. $45 a person.
Yeah, it's really good though.
Caesar salad, a good choice?
Great.
All right, and then I'm going to do the chicken parm. I hear that's good.
Perfect.
And you know, it's not often I come here, so I'll probably take home what I can't finish.
Yes.
Let me try the New York strip.
New York strip?
Yes.
I got you.
Yeah, medium rare.
You want the 14 ounce or you want the 18 ounce, the bigger one?
I'll just do 14 ounce.
Sure. How do you like it cooked?
Medium rare.
Sure.
All right, it's a lot of food, but like I said, we'll take home what we can't finish. Thank you. Generously sprinkled with grated Parmesan on top. The lettuce is looking super crispy, super fresh. You know, it looks like a fresh bed of lettuce that this is all being eaten on top of. Is that chicken or is that crouton? But it's a big generous piece of whatever it is. I think that might be a crouton. Yeah, I think it's crouton. I kind of see some holes in the side. I don't really see chicken in it. I think I might just be vegetarian, but that's okay. Let's give this guy a try, why don't we? This might be too big of a piece, so bear with me. Let's try another piece. What I like about this Caesar salad is that it really has like a strong anchovy taste. I know not everyone likes anchovies. I tend to be someone who likes anchovies, even on pizza. Please don't unsubscribe. But yeah, it's not over sauced. I think it could do with a little bit more sauce, but it's very good though. Like you really taste that anchovy flavor in the Caesar salad. This is not just your cheap grated cheese from like those craft bottles. This is some decent quality Parmesan they're using. And let's try one of these huge croutons. One of the biggest croutons in a salad I've ever seen. Really, really crunchy, not oily. I hate when croutons are too oily. Really crispy and kind of tastes like garlic bread, but in my salad. Wow, they did a good job with this. An amazingly fresh Caesar salad with crunchy croutons, garlicky croutons in the palm of my hand. Yeah, see what I did there? All right. Anyways, actually, I just discovered something on the side that I didn't even see. I don't know how I missed this. Power lunch, 32 bucks. This one, you can get palm Caesar salad, you can get chicken Parmesan, and you can get a dessert. Although I guess that's $3 extra for cheesecake, and it's a junior's cheesecake, so it's not even their cheesecake. But yeah, actually, let me ask if maybe I can switch to this, because it looks like you get more food and it's actually cheaper. So, hey, yeah, so I just realized something. So I got this, you know, the palm Caesar salad, and then I got the chicken Parmesan.
Yes.
But then I realized that this is the same thing, but I get one more thing.
No, this is a small portion.
Oh.
This is the Caesar, half of this, chicken Parmesan, half of this.
Oh, I see. So this is like a smaller portion.
Correct.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, good thing we cleared that up, because I thought for a second that, you know, I thought that I accidentally picked the wrong thing. So good thing we cleared that up. Actually, I take back what I said about the Caesar salad. As you mix it, a lot of the sauce is actually on the bottom. So as you mix it, it becomes perfectly coated. So it's fantastic. One of the best Caesar salads I've had.
New York strip right there, nice and hot plates.
Okay.
Roasted garlic, rosemary. This is the chicken Parmesan pasta.
All right.
Linguine.
Wow, that's humongous.
It's amazing. That's why, like I told you, you're gonna get a bigger portion.
All right.
Some Parmesan cheese. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Yeah. That's good.
It's beautiful. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Enjoy yourself and bon appetit.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, guys, I think we made the right choice not going with the power lunch, because he told us that the restaurant week menu, it's larger portions and everything's humongous. I mean, the salad was a good portion. He cautioned me about this hot plate, so it's gonna nudge it with my sleeve a little bit. That one's less hot. But just look at how huge this chicken Parmesan is. And the steak is actually a bigger portion than I expected. Step further back and you can just see how much food this is. So pretty impressive. Well, I guess the Caesar salad and the pasta is the restaurant week. And I guess I just got the steak on the side. But man, how to figure out how to eat all this in order. So let's move this Caesar salad over. So we have everything at our easy disposal, and let's do the pasta first, because the steak might even benefit from some extra resting. Cut off a piece of this boneless chicken Parmesan chicken breast. Wow, just look at this. Looks well cooked on the inside. Hammered flat piece of chicken with indulgent cheese and sauce on top. All right.
You just came from a cruise, so there's more food.
Interesting. Let's try some of the pasta. Ooh, look at that steam coming out. Twirl this linguine. Ooh. Okay, that was interesting, but now let's try the steak. Cut right into the center of this guy. Ooh, I love how heavy and serrated this knife is. Makes it so easy to slice stuff. Okay, that looks like a medium or medium rare. We slice right into the middle, so that should be the part of the steak that is the most accurate in terms of the cook, while the edges are more likely to overcook. And it looks like, we have a ton of seasoning on the steak. Not much in terms of sear, it seems, although there are some crunchy edges, and it's overall a decent portion. Okay, I wish there were a little bit more sear, but there at least are some grill marks.
Yeah, this is the lobster promo for 2 people. Get a starter or 2 salad.
It's got like a nice, like kind of buttery flavor, and it's really, really well seasoned. Like they seasoned it really on point. Maybe a tad salty, but it's okay because I think all the seasonings taste pretty good. Like you got big kernels of black pepper, I believe, and other spices on top. Probably big kernels of salt as well. And some other seasonings. Like I think I see some yellowish seasonings that I'm not sure what those are, but the whole thing tastes pretty good. And the steak is juicy and tender, easy to chew. I do feel like I wish that the sear was more. Like I like that they have it on the edges. I wish that they had more on top. Like it's okay if they, have grill marks on the bottom. It's not strictly necessary to have sear on both sides, but if there were more on top, I think the whole thing would be much more crunchy, and texture being pretty important to food, that would kind of put this over the top. I also think that the funky, kind of cheese-like dry-aged flavor is a little bit lacking here. So other steakhouses, such as at Gallagher's down the street, you'll get more of that dry-aged flavor. But in terms of juiciness and look, tenderness as well, and seasoning, you could definitely do worse as far as steaks. It's definitely solid. Actually, I wonder if this roasted garlic would pair well. I'm guessing it's not just a decoration that kind of looks like half a pineapple. Maybe let's try it with the steak, see if that jazzes it up. Let's try it with a piece of the roasted garlic. Oh, that's fantastic. I don't know if you're supposed to be, adding this roasted garlic to the steak or not, but even if you're not supposed to, you should, because the roasted garlic just adds even more intense flavor to the steak. Like it kind of amplifies like the savory flavor, dare I say, the umami flavor of the steak. And the best part about the steak is how well it's seasoned. So with this roasted garlic, it pairs well with the other seasonings, makes this more like a well-seasoned piece of meat rather than like a delicious, superbly dry-aged steak that you want to eat on its own without anything to distract it. And also showing their Italian roots, by adding some roasted garlic to this and really changing the whole flavor profile of this bad boy. So and then when you get those crispy bits on the edge, like they don't have the sear over the whole steak, but they have crispy edges. So once you eat those crispy edges, oh man, it's wonderful. I just wish that crispiness extended across the whole tops of the steak, but it's okay. At least I got roasted garlic. Oh yes, quick question. So do people typically eat the roasted garlic with the steak?
Yeah, sometimes they grab it and they squeeze it on top.
Oh, yeah.
So what they usually do, I see them,
Yeah.
they grab it and they squeeze the garlic on top.
The whole thing on top. I was even just taking like bits and pieces.
If you like, but what I see, most people, they just flip it and they just go like this.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's cut halfway and then roasted. So
Oh, cool.
I think something I didn't even know. Until I saw it.
Oh, cool. Also, one more question. Do you know if the steak is dry aged? Just curious.
I don't think so. It's
Wait, okay.
But Salim knows more about it.
Okay. All right, learn a new trick. They cut it in half so that we can squeeze the whole thing on top. Is this gonna work? I feel like this whole thing is just gonna, is this gonna explode everywhere? But let's try. Wow, look at this. Whoa. Ooh, it's like a Chia Pet or something. Wow, guys, this is so satisfying. You have no idea. I said Chia Pet because you know how those plants kind of grow through the holes. So it's in this case, it's like you're squeezing some goop through some, through like a sieve. All right, man. Let's see if this is the greatest idea of all time or just a bunch of celebrities mad with power at the palm. No wonder they call it the palm, because you palm this garlic and you squeeze it out with your palm.
You're doing good right here.
Yes, very good.
Good. How's the steak?
Oh, it's good. The roasted.
Perfect. Awesome.
The roasted garlic is awesome.
It's amazing. Yeah, it goes well with the steak.
Do you know if the steak is dry aged or wet aged?
It's a wet age.
Wet aged. Okay.
Yes. It's a brine wet age.
Okay.
Really good.
Okay. Very cool.
Enjoy. It's gonna melt in your mouth, my friend.
All right. Thank you.
Enjoy.
All right, so we found out. So it's wet aged. I sort of suspected, since usually when it's dry aged, it's gonna have more of that funky cheese flavor, like that nutty flavor, but that's okay. In this case, they're compensating with the garlic. Ooh. I think that was like the most garlicky thing I've ever tasted in my whole life. That was just like a garlic volcano just exploding all over my plate and into my mouth. It definitely changes the whole steak, squeezing all this garlic on top of it. I think it was slightly overkill to squeeze so much. Maybe half as much of this would have been good. Like, it does pair well with the steak, but the garlic flavor for me is a little bit too intense for me at this point. So if you just did slightly less, I think it would be perfect. But I like what they're going for with this. They got a pretty solid wet aged steak, but they're amplifying it with other flavors in this case. I mean, just a different philosophy, I suppose. Honestly, I dig it. I mean, just don't add too much and you're gonna like it. Like, it amplifies the savoriness of the steak. If you don't really like garlic, this won't be for you, but if you like garlic, you're gonna sort of enjoy this. Just don't take a date here. After eating this much garlic, she's probably not gonna wanna kiss you afterwards. Delicious. Now, before we conclude the review, just going to wrap up my thoughts on the chicken parmesan. So while I enjoyed the Caesar salad, and for the most part I enjoyed the steak, especially once I ate it with the garlic on top, I found it only okay, to be honest. To me, I feel that it could be a little bit more sweet. Like, I feel like the sauce kind of has like a very bland flavor to me. I felt that the pasta noodles were a little bit too limp, a little bit too soft. The noodles kind of seem like, your standard pasta from a box that you get at a grocery store, and not like a nice one like Italy, like ShopRite. So to me, the pasta noodles themselves were not really impressive. And the sauce to me, not only too watery, but I felt like it could use some more seasoning, use some more sweetness, and I don't know, I just felt like the sauce, while it does taste like fresh tomatoes, the sauce to me just seems like it's like kind of missing something. Now, the cheese was excellent, the mozzarella cheese. Like, it's nice and stretchy, this cheese, it's nice and stretchy, and they're very generous. They're very generous with how much they gave in terms of the cheese. And the chicken is cooked well. It's not dry. It's a solid piece of chicken, but probably just me, maybe this is how a lot of people like their chicken parmesan. After all, I've seen many chicken parmesans and had many chicken parmesans like this throughout my life, and this is how they tend to be. So maybe this is just how people like them, but that is actually precisely my point. I mean, I feel that it tastes ordinary, like it tastes like most chicken parmesans that I've had in my life. It's just bigger, pretty much. So it's a good one, but not necessarily my cup of tea. Anyways, let's finish eating, wrap up our review, and share final thoughts outside. Wow, actually, they brought me a huge carrot cake on the house. I guess let's try it real quick. Guys, I am guessing it won't quite come across on the camera, but this is a humongous slice of cake. I mean, look at my hand. This is my hand, and this is the cake. Actually, if I flip it around so that they're similar shape, you'll see. This is like a hand-sized cake, but much more thick. Let's quickly take a bite of this, and really, really, really good. I am a sucker for carrot cake personally. I personally enjoy it. I know it's not for everyone, but I like it personally. I think these are like raisins or something. I'm not really a big fan of these inside it. Like I don't really like dried fruit much in general. That's just me. But if you like it, it might be your thing. But what I like about this carrot cake is that it's super moist. Like every bite, like I know it might look crumbly in some of these angles, but every bite is moist. Every crumb is like kind of wet and delicious. The cream cheese on top is not too sweet, perfectly mild, well balanced. And the nuts on top are nice and crunchy and a nice crunchy texture. And of course, the whole thing is huge. I mean, it's almost too big. I mean, it's impressive in its size, but if it were slightly less big, to be honest, the crunch of the nuts would come out more, you know? So just take smaller bites and... pretty good. Anyways, final thoughts outside. All right, guys, so just finished eating at the Palm and stepped outside, not at the same spot as earlier because now the sun has gotten pretty intense, so I had to find somewhere in the shade. Yeah, the Palm restaurant was overall a really good experience, for the most part from start to finish. Even the dish that I didn't really like that much, the chicken parmesan, that probably is just me. You know, I've had lots of chicken parmesan before. I at one point ate it quite a bit in college, so you know, maybe I was just expecting something a little bit different than what I was used to, so I could just have taste bias and you know, just experience bias there, so to say. But I would say that overall, I liked everything that I ate, even the steak. I mean, there's definitely better steaks out there. I mean, it was not dry aged and it didn't really have that really intense dry aged nutty flavor. But it's interesting that they said that they wet age it and that they kind of wet age it in like a brine. And that kind of makes sense because I noted that it was well seasoned and it tasted like it had some nice flavors infused in it. So not just the seasoning on top, but it would make sense that they're brining it to really infuse it with more flavor if they're not going to be dry aging it. So that all makes sense. And I also just loved that roasted garlic that you can squeeze on top of it. That was a great touch. Just don't overdo it, but if you like garlic, you'll like it. Plus, the atmosphere is cool. You see all the caricatures on the walls. The staff are so friendly. You know, maybe it was just because I was there during lunch and it was kind of off-peak and, you know, maybe they weren't super busy with customers, but the staff were all super enthusiastic to talk about the history of the Palm, telling you who likes to eat there. And they also told me that Hugh Jackman is a big fan of the place, so.
I see you on YouTube a lot.
Oh,
you're the foodie guy.
Yeah, You Eats, that's me.
Yes. You're a good guy. I'm a big fan.
Thanks for saying hi. Was that the Naked Cowboy? It might have been. Wasn't the Naked Cowboy a guy in Times Square at one point? I don't know. But anyways, overall the Palm, I found it a cool experience. Pretty good food. I thought the prices were more or less reasonable too. Yeah, I think it's worth checking out, especially if you're a tourist and you're in this Times Square area. So got a ton of leftovers, so it's time to head back home to New Jersey. So have you been to the Palm before? Have you been to any of its restaurants around the world? And are you lucky enough to have been to the original Palm locations, the Palm and the Palm 2? Let me know in the comments if so, because great minds eat alike. And if you like my vids, as always, like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. And I'm gonna head to the subway station, so until next time, I'll see you later.